Hello and welcome to a brand spanking new crafty simulations video. In today's video I'm answering the question, if you have a Cessna and you have a Piper and you want another GA aircraft, what do you go for? Well, why don't you try a Mooney? Welcome back to the channel. Now, in previous videos I have covered quite a few of Carenado's aircraft, and to be perfectly honest with you, I can't remember if I even covered this aircraft before or not. It's been sat in my drive of aircraft for some time, and I know I meant to, I don't know what I have done, so hey ho, today we're doing a Mooney. It's a weird aircraft because most people would know Cessnas. They might not know the individual names of Cessnas, but you know the name Cessna as an aircraft, and you'll probably know Piper as well. But Mooney? What's a Mooney? Well, I'm here to answer that question because this is Carenado's version of the Mooney, the M20R. Now, if you know Carenado aircraft, you will know obviously that they're not the most detailed aircraft here in Flight Simulator land. They are perfectly adequate. I've heard a lot of people slag Carenado off for like not doing their homework when it comes to development of aircraft, but in my humble opinion, I think for the price point, they're pretty darn good, and I don't think they can be really beaten, like I said, for that price point. They do come functional, not fully functional, but functional, and they are a welcome collection of aircraft for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 and 2024. So here we have a rather unique looking GA aircraft. It's sleek, it's definitely a little bit different looking than the average Cessna, but Carenado did their work with this thing. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Good reflections across the canopy there. In fact, good reflections across the whole of the fuselage. It is a very, very good looking aircraft. We get this from Carenado a lot. It doesn't matter what they have in their collection, they are very well created aircraft, externally speaking. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous, and a very different style of general aviation aircraft. Obviously this aircraft went up, or Mooney went up against the powerhouse that is Cessna, the legend that is Piper, and they came up with their own version of a four-seater? Is it a four-seater? I can't remember. Yeah, four-seater general aviation cruising aircraft. You can cruise across the United States in one of these things perfectly fine. It does have some merit as well, and the fact of it has a retractable undercarriage. Now you might think, well, that's neither here nor there, that's going to add expense, it's going to add weight. Yeah, you're right, it does, but it also makes the plane very sleek, and against an aircraft with fixed undercarriage, you'll go faster, higher and further with an aircraft that has folding undercarriage. So Mooney did their work making this aircraft a very good alternative to the likes of Cessna and Piper. Talking on the Carenado side, again, they've done a fantastic job. We've seen these on previous Carenado aircraft. They seem to be really, really good at developing a very good looking aircraft. So we'll move on to the inside of this now, and things are a little bit different from what you'd expect from a Cessna, let's say, because there's going to be a lot of comparison between Cessnas, Pipers and Mooneys, because they are pretty much fulfilling the same part of aircraft, so general aviation. So some things we'll see here are pretty much the same. We've got the Cessna style push-pull arrangement of throttle, prop pitch and mixture, and obviously a standard style yoke. But Carenado again did a very, very good job in creating this aircraft, and I do rate Carenado. I think they're really, really good. I do like, it sounds odd, but I do like to look at the leather seating and the effects of the leather seating. It's something that we won't see when we're flying because obviously it's not important, but a flight sim company can lose a lot of points in my eyes by giving us poor leather seating. And I'm happy to say it's old, which it should be. The Mooney's an oldish aircraft, slightly stained, slightly miscoloured, but then people are sat in these things. I don't want a perfect clean aircraft, a factory standard aircraft. I don't want that. I want a lived in aircraft, and you get this. little bit of wear and tear around the stitching of the column. I'd probably expect a few more markings across here, because you know, you may rest your hand on there, or you may put charts on there, that line. So I'd expect a little bit more rough marks on there, but there is some. If I just lift up a little bit, yeah, there's a few more marks on here. So again, something that I think Carenado do pretty well is the markings on the plexiglass here. There's a lot of flight sim companies, they release an aircraft, it looks really fantastic, but they don't do their homework on the plexiglass, and it's an oldish aircraft. It should be marked, it should be scratched. And Carenado seem to get it really, really good. So, kudos to Carenado, they've done their homework, as always, when it comes to these aircraft. Like I said, I know there's a lot of people that don't obviously like Carenado, they don't rate them or anything like that, but to me, personally, I think they're fantastic. So, moving over to the controls. Obviously, already mentioned that it is a single-engined throttle, prop pitch and mixture arrangement in a push-pull throttle setup, and obviously a yoke system, as we expect. Moving over to instrumentation, we have airspeed in knots and temperature. I don't know whether that's outside temperature. Haven't a clue. Artificial horizon, altitude, a compass, an OBS compass, I can't even say it right. Slip and turn indicator, another compass heading, that's what you're going to be flying off. A vertical speed indicator in hundreds of feet, up and down. And we have a secondary compass. We have something, they've split the autopilot system up. So even though we have an autopilot Bendix, I do believe that'll be system down here, the altitude select is over here, so it's a little bit different. They have split it up a little bit, but again, we're real to the Mooney. We've got main power over here, the alternators over here, radio main power there, off radio, and obviously the controls and GPS. I will go on about that in a minute, we do change that. We have some buttons down here, high boost, what have we got here? Standby vacuum, pitot heat, fuel pump, or fuel boost pump, trim, which doesn't work, there's no clicking on that. So I don't know whether you can turn the trim off. I don't know why you want to turn the trim off, because obviously trim is quite useful to planes. We have trim indicators, so we've got an elevator trim and a takeoff position. We have a rudder trim and takeoff position. We have a wing flap indicator with a takeoff position. Undercarriage lever is up here. We then have our fuel flow system, and left tank and right tank, how much is left inside them. RPM gauge, we've got various needles here for your T's and P's, an indicator panel for if anything's gone wrong. I expect that to light up when I'm flying. Then we go into the usual arrangement of Garmin communications, GNS 530. Again, not my favourite system in the world, it works fine, but it's not my favourite, but we can change that. And moving down here to the transponder system, which is down here, and a few of the navigation. Like I said, the autopilot's down here, and we have comms 1 and 2 are here, and we do have, I don't know which one that one is because I don't use these things. What is it, KN64? There you go. Some kind of navigational system, probably not in use nowadays. And we do have a wet compass. I think it's a wet compass to call it, but anyway, a secondary compass or main compass, whichever one it is, sat there in the centre of the dash. We have fuse panels over here. This is Carenado aircraft, so they do not have popping fuses. Again, some people rate that as a negative. I would say, for the price point, it's perfectly fine. How many times do we go popping fuses in a flight simulator aircraft? We don't. Fuel tanks left and right and off down the bottom here, and I would say that's really about it. We do have an oxygen system because this aircraft can run pressurised, I do believe. Like all Carenado aircraft, we have the typical tablet arrangement, so we can have various bits and pieces, so we can have our static elements on, external power, tow bar. We'll get rid of the co-pilot. He's off, that's right. We can open the door, and we can open the baggage door, so let's have a look what that looks like. So there you go, that's the options we can put on the outside of the aircraft. So again, we've got the tow bar, cones, engine covers, pitot covers, sat back here, chocks are in there, and we have an engine ground unit, or power unit, and we do have our luggage and stowage opened up for said luggage and said stowage. So let's get rid of those before I completely forget about them. We'll have a pilot, that's useful. Co-pilot or baggage. Right, moving on to the second one, we have the option for the GTN 750, one of the greatest navigation equipment that I love. And if any aircraft comes with it, that's what it gets. So what are the GTN 750, please put in there. So that's what that one is. Whacked in. You do have to have this installed. It's a separate program. I think it's PMS. It says that there. We have the TDS sim GTN 750, and we can have the PMS 50, which is a GTN 750 system. I've got both of them. I rate them both, but for me personally, it's the PMS 50 GTN 750 equivalent that is the one for me. And then we have our various startup options: cold and dark, ready for taxi, ready for takeoff. These aircraft are dead simple to start. If you can start a single engine general aviation aircraft, you're going to be fine with Carenado. Again, it's not like A2A, it's not like cows either, you know, whether you've got to have certain mixtures and certain levels and, you know, all that kind of stuff. This thing will just start. A control and E aircraft, I would call it. So we'll get rid of that, don't need it. So we are currently sat at Humberside Airport, and I thought I'd go out for a little flight in the Carenado Mooney, and we'll see just how good this aircraft is. So come back when I'm back ready to start this aircraft. Sounds very unique in this aircraft, but accurate. So we'll have now the alternator can come on, or the radio panels can come on, boost pump can come off for the time being, don't need that. Right. Transponder, Squawker 7000, set that to on. Flight plan. We're going to be coming back to here, so EGNJ, Humberside, correct, map. Normally that puts a dotted line on there for the runway. Weird. I don't want OBS. Okay, but I do want OBS. OBS is recording this. That's weird. Normally that does. There's been an update, I think, to this. I'm not sure. But anyway, we know where we are. Can't miss Humberside. There's a big airfield. Right, so flaps coming down to one stage. Elevator trim. We'll bring that down just a touch. Get it more into the middle for the takeoff section. Rudder. We'll move that over trim as well. Right. Don't think we need much of anything else. Try, like I say, trim we can't use. Autopilot we're not going to be using today. So flaps are down. Like I say, not an A2A aircraft, so I don't have to wait for T's and P's. We are going to raise our view a little bit because it's a real sod to see out this thing. So brakes coming off. Let's go. Always test the brakes. I always say that sounds are extremely important here in Flight Simulator. Don't matter which sim you're flying or which aircraft you're flying, but they are incredibly important. In Carenado, they do tend to, they get good sounds. Not the best, but they are believable. And I have heard a Mooney, and it did sound roughly like this. So, again, kudos to Carenado. Set. Alright, so we shall have landing lights are on, rotating beacon, nav lights and strobe lights can now come on, fuel pump can now come on. If I find it, it is the pitot heater is now on, trim not to worry about. Power is all set, not using autopilot. So this will be a... which runway are we going out of on my chart in a minute? I've got that set next to me. So we're departing out of runway 20. Will be a left-hand departure out of Humberside, staying in the local area. Probably maximum height of about 2,000 for the flight. We're going to do a circuit, bit of a wide-angled circuit before we come back in again. Right, so T's and P's are good. One POB on board. Aha, I know the terminology. One POB on board. Nobody else will be brave enough. Flaps are down one stage. Must remember to retract undercarriage. Something that's a rarity for these aircraft. Just zero the altimeter. As we're coming back to the local area. So, trim is set, power is set, mixture is set, engine is set, T's and P's are good. Let's roll. Taking off on the left tank, and both tanks showing 24 gallons, so we're alright. Nobody on approach. When I do these videos, I never fly with multiplayer or online on. Basically, well, you just don't know who's going to come flying in one of your videos. But I'm wondering, how many other people do a normal flight and have the online functionality on? Will you have other people playing around AI? Not AI, but real people. That'd be interesting to know. Let's put the view back to our normal view. As you can see, it is rather... This aircraft does sit back down on its main wheels, so anyway, we're happy. Full throttle, airspeed's alive, there's 50, 60, 70 knots, rotate. There's 90 knots, tap the brakes, gears coming up. There's 100 knots, flaps coming up. Retrim. Nice smooth takeoff. We'll carry on our climb up to about 1,000 feet. Landing lights are now off. Fuel pump is off. It's 130 knots. So it's a slightly different aircraft to the normal Cessnas and Pipers. I don't think it was built in so many numbers as obviously Cessnas and Pipers. You don't see too many Moonies out there in the world, but a very capable 4-seater cruising aircraft. But I do like to have different options when I come to Flight Simulator, and obviously I like to, this channel is dedicated to general aviation flying, so it's nice to have a different style of aircraft to fly than the normal Cessnas and Pipers. Not saying they're bad aircraft, but it's nice to have something a bit different. Sure, this aircraft yes, he does. I completely forgot about that. This aircraft actually has, it's another advanced feature of this aircraft, it's so fast, you've got a spoiler system on both wings. You can't see the other side obviously. Completely forgot about that. I mean, how many other general aviation aircraft, single engined, have spoilers or air brakes? Set up the autopilot while we're here actually, so if I press autopilot on, 0 that, switch to heading mode, and we are on. So we're holding now our altitude and our heading. Take my feet off the rudder pedals. Sensitivity of those things. One thing I do like about Carenado aircraft is you got these little vanes here. I don't know whether they're anti-static vanes or, yeah, they've got to be anti-static vanes. I'm sure they have. But they're animated. They move in the breeze, which is what they would do in reality. I've seen quite a few Flight Simulator aircraft not have that functionality, and it doesn't do anything other than just a pleasing look. So let's get ready for a landing. So we shall have Trackir, try to remember. Right, okay, landing lights are set on. Fuel pump is set on. 22 to 24, so we'll go to the right tank. Always worried about when I switch those things, just in case I go the wrong way. airfield should be over to our left somewhere. Now normally I have troubles finding grass strips. Hopefully I'll be able to find a proper tarmac runway. Right, so autopilot off, altitude hold, heading hold off, flight director off. And I'm in control. Runway's inside. Passing 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Flaps down one stage. Right, so final checks, fuel pump is on, flaps are down one stage, air brakes are out. There's a novelty. Undercarriage coming down. Spoilers retracted. Warning light's gone out. Gear indicator light is green. Flaps down two stage. Landing lights are on, fuel pump is on. Green landing indicator. Throttling back, nose up. Hold it. Hold. As always, we have to taxi back up the runway because there is no turn-offs here on the side. So what I'll do is, I'll cut the video here and you can rejoin me as I'm about to park the aircraft up. So, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're after a different kind of GA aircraft, and you've been in the Cessnas, you've been in the Pipers, and there's some great Cessnas and Pipers out there from multiple different companies, and you have to something a little bit different that don't break the bank balance, have a look for Carenado's Mooney M20R. I'll drop a link in the description below as to where you can get it from Carenado themselves. I believe it's available on Marketplace. I've seen it pop up a few times. It doesn't break the bank balance, and I think if you take that into account, you will accept the fact that, yes, we can't hide from the fact there is less functionality in this aircraft than there is in, let's say, A2A's Comanche 250 or any of the Just Flight range. But it doesn't cost as much, and it's easy to fly, and it's relaxing to fly. And at the end of the day, we're all here to just relax. Doesn't matter what you're flying, doesn't matter whether it's an airline or a fighter plane, a bomber plane, a World War II plane, you know, an iconic piece of history or a general aviation classic. You're all here to just have a good time and relax, and I think when you have to fight the aircraft, it's a bit of an issue. But in this case, Carenado once again have done, I would say, a 7 out of 10 job. Plenty of work to be done with the aircraft and how to make it, to bring it up to an A2A standard, obviously, or just flight standard, but that's not what Carenado are here for. They have a large catalogue of aircraft, different styles of aircraft, and I think they do a very good job. I don't think they deserve some of the slack, some of the flack even that they get. I think they have a very valued place here in the flight simulator community. So anyway, if you've got any questions or comments about today's flight, about the Mooney, or about Humberside Airport, I can't remember, is it Flight Tampa? I think it is Flight Tampa's Humberside I'm using here. That will be a description as well in the video description as well, so where you can get the scenery from. But if you've got any questions or comments about that, please bang them below. And as always, I will see you guys and girls in another future Microsoft Flight Simulator video very, very soon.